We have an exciting full moon happening in Sagittarius this week on May 23rd, and I'm actually really looking forward to telling you all about it. Out of all of the expressions and things that are going on this year, this is my favorite moon for sure that we have so far this year and possibly for the rest of the year. And I'm going to show you why. So here we're going to look at our Luna software, and this is actually the exact moment for when this full moon occurs in my location. So you're going to want to adjust this to the time of your location, making sure that you see the moon and the sun at 2 degrees and 55 minutes. So you can see here, 2 degrees, 55 minutes, exactly opposite each other. That is the perfection of the full moon. And right away, you're already seeing something here that I'm pretty excited about, really close nearby. And I kind of want to walk us back in time a little bit to really talk about how impressive this conjunction that we're looking at here between Venus and Jupiter really is. So as you can see, Venus and Jupiter are at 29 degrees of Taurus. This is called the anaretic degree, the final degree. A sign goes from 0 degrees to 29 degrees and 59 minutes. So then it goes over to 0 degrees of the next sign again. So what we have here is Jupiter and Venus both at that 29th degree, getting ready to click over to the 0 degree of Gemini. Venus will actually do this later in the same day on the 23rd. Jupiter will move into Gemini a bit more slowly on the 25th. So that kind of gives you a perspective of what is going on with these two planets and their actual relative speeds as well. A fun fact here is that in this situation, the sun is separating from Jupiter's cazimi, or the conjunction between the sun and Jupiter, while at the same time, Venus is actually applying to her cazimi, her conjunction with the sun, which will happen in the second week of June. So this kind of shows us how two planets in the same position from the sun are actually in two very different phases of their synodic cycle, their solar cycle, their relationship in their cycle around the sun, the same that Earth has when we go through our seasons. The planets are going through those as well. So this is Venus catching up to the sun, and she will conjoin with the sun in the second week of June. And this is the sun actually pulling away from Jupiter. So Jupiter is in this morning rise, while Venus is in a morning set. They are both stars of the morning. They rise before the sun, but Venus is about to go towards the sun while Jupiter is separating from the sun. So Jupiter will become more and more visible throughout the morning. So like right before sunrise, if you look at the eastern horizon, before the sun comes up, you will see a bright star that would be Jupiter, once Jupiter is far away enough to be visible around 15 degrees away from the sun. Venus is going to get closer and closer to the sun and become an evening star once she crosses over where the sun is. She will actually surpass the sun and then go way out. And next year in March, she will actually have her retrograde and come back. So that's a little bit on the solar cycles of the planets that we can kind of see happening in action with this too. It's a very cool thing. Additionally, these are both the benefics. Venus is the lesser benefic only because she's smaller and of the night, and Jupiter is the greater benefic. He's huge and he's of the day. So we see both benefics here, and they are still in Taurus. Venus rules Taurus, so this is really great. What does this have to do, though, with our full moon? Well, the full moon is occurring in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is over here receiving a super amount of support from Venus, not yet in the sign of his detriment in Gemini. So we're doing pretty well with Jupiter having the support of the other benefic nearby. And not only that, but if we walk backwards in time just a little bit, we will see that on the same day when Venus and Jupiter, as you can see, Jupiter is at 26 minutes and Venus is at 39 minutes of the degree. If we walk them back to when, keeping an eye on them here, walk them back to when they are perfect in their conjunction, which we are just about at here. We can pop forward another hour or so here. And we see that Venus has now, through the course of this hour, has crossed over Jupiter. So sometime within this hour, we see that they have their perfect combination here. And so if we pop back to when they're going to have that at the same time, you might have been noticing the moon is up to something. The moon will be exactly opposite their conjunction. So we have the moon whose whole job is to bring the planets down to us and to translate their light, looking exactly and directly at this benefic conjunction and saying, hey, that's coming in with us. And I'm going to carry it into that full moon that happens later in the same day. So within this hour, not only do we have this perfection of the conjunction, but the moon will then, if we pop forward, will come out and go into Sagittarius, Jupiter's sign. So now the opposition is a little bit less significant because the moon's in a different sign and moving away, but the moon is now applying to that full moon in Gemini, which, as we can pop back here, we see happens at the 2nd degree of Gemini. So this is what we're looking at astrologically. What can we do with this? Plenty. This is my favorite kind of, like I said, this is my favorite moon of the year. Astrologically, looking at the condition, everything here points to benefics, right? The moon is ruled by a benefic Jupiter. Jupiter is conjunct Venus, and they are both in Venus's domicile of Taurus. This is kind of lovely, right? There's a lot to like about this. Yes, Uranus is nearby, but we have enough space between Uranus and Jupiter that I feel comfortable saying that chaotic energy may not apply as much to what we're seeing here. Jupiter is separating from Uranus because Uranus is slower than Jupiter. And we really don't have any square angles that are of concern. There is Mars over here, but being in Aries, he's averse these two and sextile the sun. So we don't really have any kind of negative situation going on or influence going on from Mars, especially now that Mars is separating from that north node, which we experienced over the previous weekend. Saturn also is getting ready for a square with the sun, but is forming that supportive sextile with Jupiter and with Venus. And of course, they are separating from both of these malefics by plenty of degrees. So I think that this is a really nice day on the 23rd of May to take advantage of the full moon and do plenty of things that make you feel good. Now, let's talk about what that is. What during this full moon in Sagittarius can you be working on magically to set your intentions along with this full moon? I know that typically we talk about a full moon as a time of shedding, and that is because once the moon is full and gets past that point of perfect opposition with the sun, the moon will then begin decreasing in light. We give the moon a bit of grace on that, about 45 degrees after being full. So we have a good 2 or 3 days where the moon is still considered full. And so you can think about all of the things that you are building in your life, all of the things that you are excited about. My recommendation is, if you are not sure what you should be drawing into your life, if you had no obstacles, if there were no obstacles in life, and if you didn't have to follow any rules just for this moment, what would you want for yourself? And then when you consider that, bring that into reality. Take that Taurian energy and say, what resources do I have around me that I can now use to build this goal that I've identified is something that I want to feel more of in my life? So when we think about an affirmation, I have the I am supported in all that I do affirmation for you. I am supported in all that I do. Taurus is there. Taurus is giving the resources with both these benefics ruling this moon. And then in order to apply it, explore the resources that are abundant around you, see what you can build with them, because either they will support what you already want, or they will reveal to you something that you can build that is maybe greater than you anticipated before. So I hope you have a really incredible week. I hope this energy shows up for you in the best of ways. And I will see you next week with more information on the Venus Cazimi that is coming up.